What's going on, everybody? It's Donnie at PG Hat Company. Hope you've been having a great week, a great year, all those things. But today, I thought I would do a little video, something really completely different. And I want to talk to you about digital proofs, artwork, fees, all that stuff, because it's something that we get asked about daily. So, just a little bit of a backstory. We are graphic designers by trade. Sure, everybody says they're a graphic designer, but I feel like my OCD-ness, my attention to detail, is kind of what makes me who I am and us who we are. So I went to college for design. For 18 years, I was a CAD tech and designer at an engineering firm. I worked solely in drafting software. I developed all of our proposals and cover work and all these sorts of things. So I've been doing this professionally since 2000. That's a long time. Um, I went to school. I was originally going to be an architect. So I took 4 years of drafting and then computer graphics, graphic design was really a new thing in the late 90s. I graduated high school in 97. So for 4 years, I did drafting. Then I got into graphic design, computer graphics, photography. It was way ahead of its time. So it was a really more of a small, specialized process back then. But now you can just click a button and make a logo. So, uh, background again, our company name is PG Hat Company. So we've talked about this story before, but my high school was the Pace Patriots. So the P stands for Patriot because I wanted something that resonated with the area that we lived in. I never had any intention during that time on how big our company was going to grow. So the P is for Patriot, but we also come from a heavy military background for our family. So also Patriot because, hey, we're all Patriots, right? So P for Patriot, G was graphics. So our original name was Patriot Graphics, and that is really what started our company. So Patriot Graphics was 2008 until 2020, I believe, 2019. We ran as Patriot Graphics heavily for a number of years. And then when the apparel and the hats kind of started taking place and really taking more shape, it was Patriot Graphics, Hat Company, and Apparel. We eventually dropped the apparel because the hats took over. So it seemed silly for a hat company to be called Patriot Graphics. So we just abbreviated our name to PG Hat Company. And now the joke is pretty good hat company. So, but the Patriot Graphics is still embedded into who we are. We do graphic design every single day. I've never charged for artwork fees like some places do. When you place an order, there's an automatic artwork fee. When we do our in-store apparel, a lot of times we'll outsource the prints. That way we can just make them in our shop. We just don't have time to do the print work like we used to. So we'll do runs like on our Chasing Fishes brand, or any of our fun PG Hat Company shirts or Chasing Birds shirts or just anything like that. But there's always a artwork fee that we have to pay to these companies. We've never done that. So when you place an order with PG Hat Company, that is your order. It pays for the artwork, it pays for the patch, the leather, the hat, everything. It's all included. I've never believed in charging people extra for something that should be included, and I hope that that makes sense. But each week, almost every single day, we get asked, hey, can I get a digital proof, or can you show me my artwork on a patch before I place an order? So we always explain to people like, hey, we don't really do that, because if we did free artwork and free proofs all day long, we would spend all day long doing that, literally not being able to get to the open orders that our customers have already paid for their hats, all that stuff. And I feel like that makes sense. And I feel like that is fair because we're working on orders that people have already paid for. And if we spent all day taking time to do artwork and proofs for people that haven't placed an order, that's not fair to our customers who have already spent their money with our company. So, um, what has happened, just backing up a little bit, is we've done proofs in the past. If we had a little bit of free time, we would do a digital proof or do some artwork, send it to a customer. A lot of times, they end up placing an order and we've already got the artwork saved on file. A lot of times, though, we don't ever hear from that person again. So we have spent, on average, it's not really average, there's a pretty big gap, but it could take us 5 minutes to come up with a digital proof, or it could take us 50 minutes to come up with a digital proof. It just depends on what the person gives us as far as what to work with. Many of our customers have a PDF or a really nice JPEG that's already high quality, and we can just click, 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 and that's it. But you would be amazed at some of the sketches that we get that looks like a 5-year-old has drawn, saying, this is what I want. So it is pencil drawings with scribbles. It could be a pen or a marker, a screenshot of something that's skewed or off center. What else? People have taken pictures of a business card sitting on a desk from far away. They've taken pictures of an old work truck with a faded logo on the door that they want us to redo. And that's fine. We don't mind taking the time after the order is placed to redraw something and to really take the time to make it look nice. We've had people and customers that, they have an old family business, something that's been around for 75 years, and there's no logo and there's no artwork for that because it's something that their grandfather hand painted on the side of a truck door or the old sign in front of their business. That's fine. We don't ever mind recreating something like that, but it is only fair to do that sort of work if the order is open, because there's honestly been times I've spent 1 to 2 hours working on artwork for a single customer. And that's where I feel like I pride myself the most, is just really taking that time and making sure that it's perfect, because you're buying a hat from us and there's a reason behind that. We say every hat has a story. In most cases, that's true. We've done hats for stuff that's incredibly heartbreaking, for funerals, for people that have lost a child, just all sorts of different things. And one of my favorite stories, I'll give you the very abbreviated version. This was in 2020 during COVID, when you couldn't even go and attend a funeral traditionally. So this was for a drive-through funeral for somebody's grandfather. It might have been their great-grandfather. I think it was their great-grandfather, because it was for a World War II veteran. So the story behind this patch, it was a letter or a number 4 with a letter D behind it. It was 4D, and it was very angular. It was like in a triangular type shape, if that makes sense. But the customer told me the story behind this. And when their great grandfather was in World War II, him and all of his, I don't know if they were Army or Navy or whatever, him and his military guys and their platoon and their troop, whatever it was, they landed on shore. They had a deck of playing cards. Each person took a playing card out of that deck. the grandfather, great grandfather, his card was a four of diamonds. So that's where the 4D came from. But the plan was everybody would keep their cards and they would put the deck back together again when the war was over as they grew older. Obviously, a lot of people didn't make it back from World War II, but this great grandfather kept the four of diamonds in his back pocket every day for the rest of his life. So this family was organizing a drive-through funeral because they couldn't even stand by this man's graveside. So there was a drive-through funeral, and they all had hats made that had the 4D, the four of diamonds patch on it. So that is one of the stories that has resonated with me for many, many years, thinking about this man that carried this four of diamonds playing card around with him for his entire life. It was on him when he died. And so we do hats for sad stories, for happy stories, for funny stories, whatever it is. But our artwork I always take extremely serious. So what has happened is each day, each week, we get asked if you can see a digital proof before placing your order. And we honestly, I just don't have time to do that all day. So uh, every once in a while, I will have squeezed in, some extra time, and I'll make an exception. Like I said, some people, they'll place an order, but some people, they just completely ghost us. They'll take the artwork that I created or the file that I sent, and they'll either, I guess, make it themselves if they can do that, or they'll take it to another company, another hat maker, whatever it is, because we've seen our artwork pop up on other hats, and I recognize, my artwork because I have my own style, and I'm like, that's the patch that I created for somebody for free, and they took it somewhere else. Um, just recently, a few weeks ago, and that this is kind of what has prompted um, this little spiel here. So thanks for hanging with me during my rambling. Had a customer, well, not a customer, reached out through our online chat and asked if they could see a digital proof before placing an order. And I was like, no. And I explained to him why, which is what I'm telling you guys right now. I was like, we've had so many people, burn us and, end up not placing an order. And it takes away from the important production time during our afternoon. And his response was, most people understand, but this response, he said, fine, I'll take my money elsewhere, type deal. And I was like, well, let me sit down with you. I always, we're always willing to work with people and make an exception. And we try and make people happy all the time. That's our number one goal. Make people happy, make amazing hats. Sometimes you have to wait, but the product is worth the wait. So I was like, well, let me, send me what your logo is and, let me see what I can do. So we worked back and forth on this for well over an hour, probably about an hour and a half. And I can make over 100 hats in an hour. So I took over an hour of very, very important production time to work with this customer, sending the artwork, sent the proofs, back and forth. It was probably a dozen or so emails back and forth to make an exception. That was it. No order, nothing. I did some follow-up emails saying, hey, just wanted to follow up on our order that we were talking about. I even gave him special pricing, which is something we typically don't do. But I learned my lesson, and that is where this story gets wrapped up. So on our website, we've been making a few changes, nothing major. All of our patches, first of all, are sewn now. We got rid of our leather bond for no other reason than we just want to sew everything. The leather bond has been tried and true for so many years to us, and we'll still use it like here and there. We can't sew our like our straw hats, like our beach hats that you actually see right there. So we'll still be using our leather bond on our straw hats, but everything is going to be sewn now. We've kind of um, adjusted some pricing a little bit to, reflect those changes, but we can actually sew faster than we can glue and press and heat and bond and all that stuff. So we've really dialed in this process, but everything's going to be sewn now. But at the same time, me and Mandy, my wife, who works right beside me every single day, we were talking about the whole digital proof thing. And, we understand you want to see how something looks before placing an order, but we try and explain, like, we've never had somebody cancel an order because they didn't like their proof. We've always made it work. Usually it's the very first time we send something, it's always perfect. I pride myself in being a perfectionist. And, that is my biggest flaw also, because I spend way too much time perfecting something when I've got other things to do, but it's also my biggest asset, I feel like. Um, so anyway, what we have done on our website is during your order process, for $1, you can request a digital proof. And if you request a digital proof, a lot of times that slows down, the process of us working on your order. If we can just go through it and we don't have to worry about sending a proof and we can just do the artwork, crank it out, makes everything easier, makes everything faster. But we get it. You want to see how something looks just in case you don't like it. So for $1 during your order process, you can request a digital proof. And that's not like on the hat with a color hat with a patch on the hat like some places do. We're a little more old school and just traditional. So what we do is we send you a digital proof of the patch artwork. So it'll be a digital version of whatever leather color, rust or gray or white. It'll be, a circle or a rectangle, hexagon, whatever. So we'll send you your artwork on the shape of the patch with a digital representation of the leather, which isn't 100% accurate because leather is leather. It's, you can't actually replicate the real color in a digital version. So for $1, we'll send you that proof. For $0, there's the option to say, hey, I don't want a proof. I trust your professionalism. So for $0, you can just let us roll with it. And I promise it's not going to suck, because we've never pumped out with the 20, 30, 100,000 hats that we've made. We have never ever made a patch that someone came back that didn't request a proof and say, hey, that was pretty crappy. What did you do? Never ever happened. So for $1, you can request a digital proof. For $0, you can just let us do what we're good at. But we still get asked, can I see a proof before making a purchase? So yeah, you can. We just launched that today. There is a new pre-ordered digital proof option on our website. So if you want us to work up the artwork, I'm going to explain how that works now that you've listened to my 18 minutes and 50 seconds of rambling getting up to this point. How the digital proof before you order works is you go on our website. There's our FAQ section where you can click the digital proof before order request. And for $15, you can get a proof made before placing an order. That way, if you decide not to place an order, we didn't waste our time. We didn't waste, any of our production that's going towards people that have bought something because you've actually purchased something for $15. So what does that mean if you come back and place an order and you paid $15 for your digital proof? Well, when you place an order, we'll refund $14 back to you. So that secures, your comfort zone, saying like, I don't want to waste $15, but if you spend $15 with us, we'll refund $14. That $1 is for that digital proof during the order process. So I think that's fair. Maybe somebody won't ever do that, but it is there now. And I feel like $15 for us to spend 5 minutes to 50 minutes working on, some artwork for an order that hasn't been placed is, I think that's fair. So as a designer, I value our time. I value your time, our customers' time, because they are waiting on hats that either a single hat, 100 hats, 1,000 hats. So we are extremely busy. And here I am 20 minutes in, and I could have made a lot of hats in 20 minutes. But took a little bit of time to explain this to you guys. If you've noticed any changes on our website, we do have a little bit of a sale going on right now since we've revamped the stitching and stuff like that. We're 10% off right now as well. I don't ever do sales, ever. So maybe once or twice a year I might throw something out there. But so yeah, support the artist, because creating something takes time. So to recap, $1 digital proof during your order process, $0 if you trust me, and $15 if you have not placed an order but you want to see what your artwork looks like on a patch before placing an order. So after you place an order, if you've paid the $15, we'll refund $14 back to you once your order is placed. If you never place an order, you got a $15 logo, pretty much. So, it is what it is. But we try and be fair to everybody, and I feel like this is a fair new process that we have implemented on our website. It keeps us working hard on our orders that have been paid for. And if you request a proof before purchase, we've got a product and a link that we can share with you and say, hey, if you want a proof before making a purchase, that's the deal. So anyway, we appreciate everybody that supports PG Hat Company, new and old, future, past, present. We wouldn't be here without you. So thank you. We'll see you soon.